So today is Ash Wednesday, and this marks the beginning of the Lenten season. And there is some very, very important things to kind of talk about and things to note when it comes to the season of Lent. It's a very important season, and it's basically in preparation for the anniversary, right, of Jesus Christ dying on the cross, forgiving us for our sins, going through the worst pain imaginable and the worst punishment imaginable to be the ultimate sacrifice for our sins in order to forgive us for all of our faults, and then resurrecting, coming back from the dead, truly cementing himself as a figure for decades and millennia to come, as we are here today. And his name and his word still abides and is still super loud and super huge each and every day. But what the season of Lent kind of symbolizes is it's actually the opportunity for growth. Is the opportunity to be a better person each and every day. What Lent is probably the most important thing of Lent, and it starts with today, Ash Wednesday, is you give up something. You give up something, and maybe like the conditions of it is you give up something that you know that you like, or that you have a habit of doing, but you know is bad for you, or you know goes against God and his teachings. That's kind of like the basis for what you want to give up for Lent. A lot of people, maybe they give up eating junk food, or they give up, I don't know, they give up swearing. Swearing's a pretty good one. When I was a kid, I gave up pop, and then I never drank pop again, and that's a pattern, right? Ideally, if all goes well, you give up this thing for Lent, and it's 40 days without doing this thing, and because it's something that isn't really beneficial for you anyway, or again, it's something that goes against God, and you want to be a better person, you want to sin less, then by the end of the 40 days, if you were successful in giving up that thing, usually, if it goes well, it means that you continue to not do that thing. And it can be absolutely anything. Again, as I said before, like when you're a kid and when you do this kind of tradition as a kid, it can usually be like food you eat, or pop, or swearing, or some sort of like some sort of thing that affects kids. But as now, I assume most of you are like adolescents or even adults watching this episode of this podcast, it has to be maybe something more serious. Like maybe you have an addiction, right? Maybe it's alcohol, maybe it's coffee, maybe coffee, like, kind of hurts you in a way. I don't know, whatever it is. Maybe it's smoking, maybe it's porn. Porn's a big one, right? Porn's a big issue nowadays, and a lot of people fall into it. If you say during Lent, and that Lent is an opportunity for you to say, all right, I'm going to give this up. And usually if you're able to give it up for that long and you're able to persevere, then by the end of the 40 days, you're going to be at the point where you're actually okay with continuing to not do that thing. Especially if it's a bad addiction that is kind of plaguing you, and you've tried so much to try and get rid of it, right? Porn's a big one. I have dealt with it myself, and a lot of people around me have dealt with it. But I think like it's hard, right? Because you have that feeling and you want to do it, but during the Lenten season, it gives you kind of a motivator and a bigger reason, the higher power, right? The higher calling, the bigger reason why you shouldn't do it. It now becomes a moral thing. Like you have now put it in the forefront of your brain that this is a sin, it's bad, and it's destroying me, and it's going against God. So you give it up for 40 days, and 40 days is long enough that you start to wean yourself off of it. And it's the best time in the entire year to say, all right, this vice that I have, this thing that's destroying me, this thing that I hate doing that's going against God, let's quit it and let's give it up for Lent right now. Today is the perfect day to start on your journey to getting rid of these addictions. And that is the beauty of Lent, is that you can absolutely do that because now you have that higher power. And at the end of the 40 days is it's a decently long time when it comes. They say a habit is built in what, 20 to 25 days, something like that. So you're going for 40. So that gives you more than enough time to build that habit within yourself that you are not going to continue with this addiction, or you're not going to continue eating this junk food, or you're not going to continue with the swearing. With me, the thing I'm personally trying to give up for Lent, and I'm going to do my best, is getting angry. I think anger is a big problem, and anger leads to me insulting people, leads to me swearing, and it leads to me just forgetting about God and forgetting about his teaching, and forgetting about what he wants me to do. So anger is probably like a primary emotion for me. It's a thing that I really struggle with, like controlling myself in moments of anger. So I think that would, for me right now, it's not like a physical thing that I'm giving up, because I think I'm in a good moment right now where like I don't have a lot of things that are like addictions that are kind of destroying me, whereas in the past I would have. But now I'm in a good place, so I'm going to give up, like, like a feeling, right? The feeling of anger that kind of destroys me, oftentimes. But I think for a lot of you watching this, there is definitely that something that is a lot bigger. Again, whether it be an addiction, whether it be food, whether it be swearing, or whether it be just an emotion, the way you treat people, things like the way you act. Like maybe, your Lenten gift is your Lenten promise, and the thing you're giving up is isolation. Maybe you spend too much time by yourself. For Lent, let's go out more. Let's make it a thing to go outside every single day. And if that's your Lenten promise, and the thing you're going to give up, then that's going to be a good thing, because obviously isolation is what kind of destroys a lot of people. So it's a good thing for you to say, all right, let's give up isolation. There are many different things you can think about as ways to kind of discipline yourself. And that's what Lent is, and that's what the giving up of something is. It's to discipline yourself, and it's also to say to God and give a message to God, saying exactly that I sin, and I have this bad sin that not only hurts me and defiles me, it goes against you. And saying that you're giving up is saying to God, Lord, I want to get rid of this sin. I want this sin to leave me. I don't want to sin anymore. I hate my sin, and I want to get out of it. I want to change to do better. That is what you're saying, essentially, when you give something up for Lent. And if you don't give something up for Lent, well, you're saying to God, I'm okay in this sin that I'm dealing with, right? Sometimes you have a lot of problems. You have to take it, one at a time, right? Maybe you have a lot of different addictions, a lot of different vices, a lot of things you fall into. So you got to pick one. Pick one that's the worst and take it one step at a time, because of course if you try and do everything at once, you're going to overwhelm yourself. You do one at a time. That's why you give up one thing. You're not going to give up 10 things, even if you might need to become a better person. But it's taking that first step and saying this Ash Wednesday, okay, I'm going to be giving up this thing because it is sin, because I hate it, and because it's also hurting me. And I'm sure for a lot of you, you have a lot of obvious things that are very easy to give up. Maybe you want to give up social media as well. Social media is a big one. I have a couple of people in my life that saying they're going to give up social media for Lent because, well, as you know, scrolling on Instagram and TikTok destroys a lot of people, and just binge watching YouTube videos and binge watching Netflix or something like that is something that kind of wastes a lot of people's time and kind of just leaves them to be lazy, right? So those are also very good things you can give up as well if you don't want to give up anything else. It's a very easy thing. Just say, all right, I'm going to delete Instagram for 40 days. Like that's solid. Then you're freeing yourself up to do different things. Maybe you want to start reading. Maybe you want, I don't know, you want to play chess or something. You want to start a new hobby. I don't know, whatever it is that you want to do. You maybe you more time to go and work out. You can make a more detailed workout plan if you're a little bit inconsistent with that. You can get better sleep. There are many things that, like, if you're creative enough, even if you don't have, like, it's easy if you have that vice and you have that thing that is plaguing you and that is destructive. That's the easiest thing to say, all right, I'm going to give this up. But if you don't, I'm just trying to give you a few ideas here. If you don't have those obvious things, maybe it can be, oh, going to bed late. Maybe that's the thing you give up. You start to be in bed before midnight every day. You say, I'm going to give up going to bed late. These are ideas, and I'm just kind of spitballing here, giving you guys some ideas as to some things you can give up for Lent. Because I truly do believe if you can give it up and you're disciplined, it might take a couple of days. You might fall and you might absolutely not do it, right? Especially if it's something like swearing. It's very easy to say a swear word and accidentally slip up. So you can fall. But know that, it's not the end of the world. If you're trying your best, maybe a week in, that's when you start to get to that level where you're actually no longer doing it at all. And again, if you make it through the 40 days without doing that thing that you gave up, there is a very high chance that you keep going, because you find that it is actually better for you in the long run, right? Quitting watching porn is obviously super good to keep going, right? Obviously, because the world wants, the world and the people that perpetuate that industry want it to replace real sexual interaction, and they want it to replace the real human to human connection that you get from real sex, and they want it to replace the covenant of God that is given through sex. So for you to give it up is a very good thing. For you to give it up is to say that you are that you are trying to become a better person, the type of person that is able to be responsible with women and good in a relationship and kind of, open to sex and the real important things, rather than just watching it and stimulating the feeling by watching it instead of actually experiencing it yourself, which is a beautiful thing. Turning a beautiful thing into something truly heinous. That is what pornography is. And that's just an example. It could be another addiction. You have smoking, destroying your body. You're increasing the chance you get cancer, and of course, you're just destroying yourself, right? Alcohol is the same type of thing. You're increasing the chance for all sorts of liver problems and all sorts of issues, and you're increasing the chance that you kind of get into big trouble, because if you're drunk, you don't have control over yourself. And drugs is also a big thing. So if one of those things are addictions, if you have a real serious addiction, very easy, right? Lent, let's give this up. It's going to be hard because an addiction, you've been dealing with it, and for years you're trying to quit. Lent is the biggest way, and I think the biggest facilitator that will allow you to quit, and you give it to God. That's the most important thing. By yourself, you're nothing. By yourself, you're not going to do it on your own. If you give it to God, and it's Lent, so of course it's the best time to do that. You give it to God saying, Lord, I don't want to sin anymore. It will be a lot easier, and you will have a lot more strength when fighting those temptations to fall back into that addiction. And it will help you going forward past Lent to go through it less, or have a healthier relationship with the thing that has been plaguing you for so long. So this is the essence of Lent. This is the reason why we give up something for Lent. It's a tradition, but it is also super, super important. It's an amazing moment for growth, an amazing moment to do better and improve in your life, because it allows you to say that to recognize, first of all, be humble and recognize that this thing is bad for you, and it's destroying you, and it's destroying your relationship with God. And then also to say, yeah, you give it up, and I'm going to not do it again. You commit for the 40 days, and if you're able to, it just is natural that you only continue going on because you see the benefits in your life having not done that. Like when I gave up pop, I gave up drinking pop as a kid. I never drank pop again after Lent. Like I might have been like 12 years old or something. Pop's bad for you. It's sugary. It has high calories. It doesn't really fill you up. It just causes all sorts of issues. So basically, that's what it means to follow the Lenten season and actually do it and actually give something up. And I encourage each and every one of you watching this episode today to give something up for Lent. And you will find that yeah, it's very easy for you to kind of continue with not doing that thing, that vice that is destroying you, continuing with it, continuing along that path. When I gave up pop, I never drank it again. I maybe had maybe a couple of things that accidentally qualified as pop, but to be very technical, I never drank Coke ever again. For example, right? To be really obvious, I never drank Coke again, Sprite, all that crap. That is obviously pop. Never drank it again after I gave it up as a kid, and it's been a very, very good decision. Similarly, I think I did something with swearing. I did something with swearing. Swearing's a little bit harder because it's a lot easier with pop. You actually, with something like pop or with food or something like that, you actually have to say, all right, I'm going to go pick it up and I'm going to drink it or I'm going to eat it. Whereas with swearing, it can come and go each and every time. I think right now I'm in a moment in my life where I don't swear that often. Sometimes I let it slip, but it's way better than I was when I was a kid. I was cursing like a sailor, really. So now that I kind of have spent time saying, all right, I'm going to give it up, now I'm kind of in a mindset where I don't swear that often, and I won't willingly do it each and every day. I try my best to not. Only a few swear words a day at the most as of now. Only when I get really angry do I let myself fall out of that, which is why this year I think is a good thing for me to kind of focus on being less angry. And that is the thing I'm giving up for Lent. So I encourage you to give up something for Lent. Just know that giving it to God will make things even better and even easier and even more glorious. It will be easier for you to overcome those addictions, those vices, those things that are plaguing you if you give it to God, if you give them up for Lent. And then with, hopefully with the knowledge that you are going to keep going after Lent. But Lent is the kind of structural thing that allows you to put it into perspective and say, all right, we are giving this up, and we are not going to do it at all ever again. So it's admitting that you have sin, and accepting that you are going to give it up and you're not going to do it again. That is the beauty of Lent, because it is able and has the potential to change your life and change so many people's lives. If you're able to be humble and give it up and be successful in giving it up, it changes your life for the better going forward as well. So I encourage you to participate in this Lenten season. Give something up for these 40 days, and truly give it to God. And you know what it is. You know what that thing is in your life that is plaguing you. Especially if you have multiple things, you know which thing is the worst. So give it up and say and proclaim and pray on it, saying that you will give this thing up for Lent, and even go to church and pray on it in church if you want. But you have to give it up and kind of proclaim to God that you are giving it up for Him, and give it to Him, and He will truly make it glorious, and He will, He will cast the devil out, and He will cast those addictions out of your life for the future if you truly trust in Him. So, thank you for watching this episode. I ask that you subscribe on YouTube if you haven't yet, and follow on Spotify. Leave a like on the video. Show your support. And I really do encourage you to give something up for Lent. Participate in this Lenten season because if nothing more, because it's such an important opportunity for you to grow. It's the easiest excuse and easiest reason to give something up. Give up that vice that is hurting you so much. And you know deep in your heart what is really plaguing you, what is kind of messing you up in many ways. So I encourage you to go and participate and give it to God, and you will see that He will make it absolutely glorious. So as we enter this Lenten season, that is my message to you. So thank you for watching, and hopefully you do it, right? I'm here for you. I'm rooting for you, and I wish you the best of luck in your kind of your journey to giving up that vice, that thing that is hurting you in your life. May God help you during this Lenten season. So thank you for watching this episode, and I'll see you tomorrow for the next one.